Ma 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 ma.
Rimworld is a game that adds so many different functionalities, so many different mods, so many different buffs, so many different stat changes, so many different monsters, so many different enemies. But how many of those things do we actually get to use in Rimworld? There's a lot of things that you'll play Rimworld over and over and over and over again, and you'll never actually experience, because Rimworld is one of the few games that exist that is so deep in terms of its modding and its base game that you'll probably never actually get to experience all of these. And I think one of the biggest ones that we don't get to experience as a player base is food. Now, hands up here. Who here plays a Rimworld playthrough and only makes themselves fine meals and luxury meals and then just leaves it at that? Who here doesn't experience the different things that food provides, the different stat buffs and debuffs, the different mood changes, the different things that different foods could potentially provide and buff you? That is what this series is all about. Welcome to Hell's Kitchen, episode 1. And the whole aim of this series will be to experiment with different foods, drugs, and different things that we can give our colonists naturally to make them better. And as the intro suggests, we are going to be playing as chefs. The whole thing of this is chefing, cooking, but being a catering kitchen colony. So it leads us to our two main chefs. We have Branston Chunk, who is our head chef. He is a demon chef, which is a completely new xenotype that I've created, which we'll go through in a minute. As a child, he had an adventurous youth, and as an adult, he's a chef, obviously. Fast walker, caffeine resistance, which I feel is very appropriate for a chef, and a gastronomist. Not very good at shooting, not very good at melee. He's generally got not the best stats, but has a double passion of 20 in cooking, which is perfect for a chef. And then his lovely wife, Star Anise. What a lovely, lovely person, who also was a shop kid turned royal cook, more of a royal specialization there. Once again, very bad at shooting, okay at melee, very good at cooking, but this time is very good at social, and okay at a few other things because she's part royal. She's composed, she's coordinated, she's a snob and a gourmand. I think very appropriate for an ex-royal chef. And their son, their poor son, Pizza. Pizza is a child turned master chef. At the moment, Pizza is only 8 years old, but has got such a promising adulthood already set up for them. Iron stomach, gifted, and big boned. They're going to be living their life, eating lots of food, and getting so much better that way. Once again, very bad at shooting, not very good at melee. 8 in mining, 20 double passion in cooking, 10 double passion in animals, and is also generally very good, a protege for the colony, and a protege chef at that. And the big return colonist that we have this series is John. Now, for those of you that watched Randy's Revenge series, the previous one I just did, you will all know that John was a fantastic child that we bought from an egg, raised until they were kidnapped. We lost them and it was devastating. John is our 18-year-old woman, so this is, if you were into the lore of this whole playthrough, it's 5 years older than where we lost her. John has got very similar stats from where we lost her, but is kind of not as good, because she was captured by Void. So the last thing to go through is going to be the xenotype. The xenotype for the chefs is Demon Chef. They are very unhappy, as chefs generally are. Cold weakness, fire resistance, hyper aggressive, strong melee damage, sleepy. We're going to go through the fertility things in a second. Demon wings, very attractive, red hair, deep red skin, horns, they have a tail, very bad at shooting, phenomenal cooking, and their cooking curiosity. Very basic things, generally speaking, for the xenotype. However, ever fertile, short pregnancy, high libido, fast gestation. The house rule that we're going to have for this series is that we are not allowed to recruit anybody. We have to rely totally on breeding in order for us to make this colony bigger. And we're going to be utilizing something that I have never actually done in Rimworld. It's child slavery. Pete is going to be an exception to this because Pizza is the protege that Anise and Branston have formed, and Pizza will be a independent colonist. But any children that these two have, they will be slaves. All right, they're going to be entering the catering world as waiters, not able to do anything, and just as the American capitalist structure suggests, they are going to be waiters on a pittance of a wage, basically slaves. So the last thing for us to look into is what our ideology is. Now, we are the conscientious food injectors. Now, a conscientious objector, which is where the name of the ideology comes from, is a person who, for reasons of conscience, objects to complying with a particular requirement, especially serving in the armed forces. So these are people that are consciously injecting food because that's what they need to do, you know? It's a bit of an opposite, and I quite like it. So generally, the ideology is very, very basic. We're going for a fluid ideology this time around, so we'll be changing things around. Child labour is encouraged. A lot of other things are kind of here. There's not really anything of note to write home about. Our roles are the head chef, a kitchen porter, a chef de partie, a commis chef, and a sous chef. Very basic. 5 kitchen roles that will eventually be the adults. And our 2 relics are Gordon's cap and Anthony's apparel, named after Gordon Ramsay and Anthony Bourdain. So we all are also playing with the gastronomy mod as well. So we will eventually be running the restaurant as an actual restaurant. We have a lot of other things that we can do with that as well. It's been a mod that I have used several times over the years, but I've never actually focused on it. And that is going to be one of the other goals that we're going to be doing. So I guess we start by doing some growing. It's going to be very food based. It's going to be a lot of food and farms and getting things made and just done. Our whole economy is going to be based on food, and we're not going to have very many colonists, so things are going to have to be very small and particular. I like that, you know. I like that. And just to show off how many recipes we've currently got for food, and I haven't actually done particularly any research. We've kind of started mid-tier because that's what I thought would be the best as a restaurateur. We've got a lot of things that we can cook. I think a general goal will be able to cook everything and sell everything in their own particular places. I have like different cafes and things set out as well. I think that would be a nice little thing to go for. And straight off the bat, we do have colonists that can gain expertise. Pretty much everybody is capable of gaining these expertise because, well, they're all very good at cooking, funnily enough. So Pizza has got his in cooking. We are going to stick with that for him. We've got cooking speed, food poisoning chance, drug cooking speed, and we've got butchery speed. So I think for Pizza, you know, I feel like an 8-year-old that can do a lot of drug cooking does make sense. I like the idea of that. A future in drugs. Nice. Anise, she can either have hers in social or cooking. Now, she is only a secondary chef to Branston, who is the head chef. So maybe we have her to be able to be good at talking. I think talking sounds like a very good idea as well. Maybe we go for... I think we actually might go for pro-salatizing. I've absolutely butchered that. Conversion power plus 5%. So then if there's anybody that comes into the colony, maybe someone of our xenotype, we can talk to them, maybe recruit somebody of just our xenotype. I don't know. I like the idea of converting everybody and, like, you know, making them all believe in food. I think that's a nice thing to go for. Branston's is obviously also in cooking as well, and I think that's going to be straight up just going to be feeding speed. It makes most sense for the head chef. John, however, does not have an expertise, so we go from there. Now, I have, unfortunately, forgotten to make Branston and Anise lovers, so I am going to have to manually just make them fall in love. You know, yes, easy peasy. There we go. New lovers. Perfect. So one of the first jobs I've set up is a bunch of little fences here. It's just so that I can make everything look neat and tidy with the gardens. There's going to be so many things that we're going to have to build and grow this series. It's going to be unbelievable. But it's going to be nice to have things on a slightly slower pace, you know. I'm really excited to see how we can make things grow. So we, obviously, as a result of us having so many different mods and everything for cooking foods, there is a lot of options we have here, with even more being able to unlocked with different researches. I think we're going to currently stick to the fairly basic and simple ones. We've got one for rice I've already set up. You know, let's have one for soybeans. Let's have another one for sorghum plants. Let's have another one for lettuce. And another one for black beauty aubergines. And the last one being for blueberries. Yeah, there's going to be so many different things that we're going to be able to grow. And I think I like the idea of keeping things more small and intimate, you know. gardening, the farming in this series shouldn't be about how much we can grow on such large quantities, but more so what particular things we can grow and have a larger variety. Because I'd imagine that we get more mood buffs for having more variety with our food. And at the end of the day, if we want to really buff our colonists with food, we're going to have to pick the most variety that way. Another thing I'm going to set up very early on in this series is something that I don't like to usually do, but I'm going to force them to try for babies. You know, if we're only relying on self-sufficiency in terms of colonists, maybe I'm going to try a little bit harder to make them make colonists, you know? Sexy demon people making children. Sounds like a lovely thing, you know? And looking on the map as well, because we are going to be doing a fair bit of ranching as well, so obviously be able to make different meals and do that exciting things. We do have some boom loops on the map as well, which is going to be very nice for making like Nutra-Amine and stuff from the chem fuel that we can make from their milk. So eventually we'll need these boom loops to make drugs, which is also very nice. We could also breed like turkeys or something, so we could like have like a reliable source of meat. Could be something we do. What breeds a lot and makes a lot of meat? Humans? Do we breed humans and eat them? I'm tempted. And already I've gotten uncomfortable at the idea that Branston and Anise will be absolutely going to Pound Town whilst their son sleeps in the No. Branston Chunk, will you marry me? Wow, Anise, I wasn't expecting this. Too much pressure. This isn't working out anymore. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, let's start a series where the two main characters breed all the time in order to make this colony work. Yeah, rejected proposal, of course. Are you actually having a giggle? I just can't believe it. These two were meant to be the ones that make everything work. Oh, no. Well, I don't even know anymore now. This is throwing my plans out the window a little bit. Well, I guess what I'll do to try and get them to fall back in love again is, whilst we don't actually have too much going on at the moment, because there's no point rushing too hard, otherwise it'll just, like, I won't have much to do. I guess I could build, like, a research room and then put them both on research and then make it so they, like, talk that way and socialize and get to know each other. I think that's a pretty good idea. So I think I'm going to try to go for like an aesthetic. I want aesthetics to be the thing of this series and everything to look good. And I like the idea of having a research room wrap around this lake. Will it work? Probably not. Will it look like a disformed banana? Yes. Do I like bananas? Yes. Would I eat a banana even if it was disformed? Yes. Okay, so I've kind of got it to wrap around somewhat nicely, and it somewhat doesn't look too phallic, but it does kind of look like a banana, like, kind of. I'll maybe keep working on it, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to get for. Yeah, there we go. That looks a little bit better. If you don't think that this is a banana, but think this is just a research lab that wraps around the lake to make things look nice, this'll do. You know, I'm happy with that. It could be worse. It could also be a lot better. Jesus. We finally have our first guests arrive. Now, we don't unfortunately have any beds, nor do we have anything set up for them to eat. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to reviews visitors until I have guest beds. And we're going to get Branston and Anise to expand their restaurantee expertise in business. What in earth are my words doing? Jesus. What we're going to do is get Branston and Anise to open a separate little hotel area and change it from being just a straight up restaurant to maybe a hotel where people stay and come visit the lovely area and the fantastic fauna and everything. Right, so we've now finished our lovely banana building. Name pending. Now we need to actually fill it with research stuff. We don't have many buildings that we can currently put down in terms of research, but, you know, it still gives Branston and Anise the opportunity to sit down, talk to each other, and look into the walls and just see what's going on with each other. And our first hostile has come into the area. A local squirrel has gone mad. Now, Pete, Anise, and Branston, as I showed you the xenotype earlier, do not particularly have much of a skill in melee. Yes, Anise is at 9 in melee. It's not too bad. But John will be the main protector, brought in from off the streets, hungry and afraid. John is their sworn protectors. Pete, please don't die. Please. So even though I've given Pete that big knife, he's not going to particularly be using it. It's there for, you know... Oh. Oh, shit. Pete, no, you're not meant to use the knife. Oh, Pete. John, let him know. Pete wasn't meant to use that knife. It was meant to be there for aesthetics. And we've now finished the research room. So the first research project that we'll be undertaking using semi-random research, stew cooking, tree sowing, or hot tubs. Let's grab ourselves tree sowing. That's a lot of trees that we can grow. Jesus. Well, let's get that sorted, and let's get Branston and Anise together, romantically alone, in the research banana. And there they are, Branston and Anise back together, kind of, in the research room alone. Let's be more quiet near sleeping people, okay? Someone disturbed my sleep. Whew, things are already heating up between these two sexy demon people. You're useless as a tits on a bull, Anise. Jesus Christ, Branston. Come on. Please. I just want you to love each other. Please. Why is it so bad for you two to be friends? You're both decent as social. You're both the same xenotype. You're both... Oh, I can't win, can I? This just isn't going well. I should also mention as well, the storyteller that we are currently going for as well is going to be Empress Evil. This is not going to be something that I'm necessarily going to stick with throughout the series, but, you know, so far, Empress Evil's been treating me quite nicely, so we're going to stick with it until I can't face it anymore, basically. And an unusual drought has set in. You know, I think we're going to have a counter for this series of how many blights and droughts that we're going to have, because I probably didn't think about that at all as droughts and blights that are going to absolutely ruin us for growing food, which is going to be the one thing that we need in order to progress this colony. Not something I thought about whatsoever. So we'll have a little counter, you know. I'll have a little counter just every time one pops up. We'll add a number to it and see how many we get. But yeah, not convenient at all, especially as our colonists are so hungry. And I think the next building we're going to queue up and make aesthetically pleasing, please don't reference the banana research lab, I think it's going to be a hospital, because if Branston and Anise finally get together, we're going to be hopefully pushing out babies left, right, and center. So we're going to need somewhere nice for them to give birth. Now, I'm not an expert at hospitals and giving birth, but I feel like you need a nice hospital in order to do those things well. So I think that's what we'll do next. I'm just going to build out of wood, and I think, you know, a nice circle, maybe. I don't know. What does the hospital thing look like? It's up, down, left, right. It's the cross, you know. Maybe we have a cross building, so then we know it's the hospital. Make things a little bit more interesting, not just sort of boring square, you know. There you go. I've planned out a little cross for the hospital so we know exactly where it is. You know, I don't remember the last time I played Rimworld and got so many things built. Or is it just because I haven't played Rimworld in so long and I've actually been able to build buildings? But yeah, John's going to absolutely blitz through that. We'll have a nice sort of room that's very sort of medical based. And I think we'll just kind of expand sort of in this general area here, and then move things around as we go. Everything you see isn't going to be permanent. I think eventually we will move everything around, have more specific areas for things, because, you know, we've got this high-value beachfront property to expand into. And that is where we're going to end things today, with knowing that John's building is a fantastic hospital for Anise to hopefully give birth to one day. So yeah, thank you very much for watching today's episode, and I hope you're excited as I am to see what we can experiment with different drugs, different foods, and see what combinations we can come up with and see how powerful we can actually make people. If you want to join the Discord and suggest different mods or anything like that, please, the link's down and below. Join that. Welcome to the community. So if you have enjoyed today's episode and are excited to see where things take us, consider liking, subscribing, and make sure you tell your mum about it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.